Fair use. Daily reflections. This is a book of reflections by AA members for AA members. August 3rd. To be of service. Our real purpose is to fit ourselves to be of maximum service to God and the people about us. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 77. It is clear that God's plan for me is expressed through love. God loved me enough to take me from alleys and jails so that I could be made a useful participant in His world. My response is to love all of His children through service and by example. I ask God to help me imitate His love for me through my love for others. Courage to Change One Day at a Time in Al-Anon, August 3rd. There was a time in my life when I furiously insisted that alcoholism did not exist in my family. We were normal. Everything was fine. Today I know that alcoholism is a family disease that affects not only the drinkers but those around them as well. Denial is a symptom of this family disease. When I began to recognize the alcoholism in my family, my unfortunate past became the topic of all my conversations. Then, an Al Anon member shared about having learned to look back without staring. She pointed out how easy it can be to lose perspective, to feel trapped, to stop living in the present. Unlocking the secrets of the past can offer many gifts, but the purpose of this search is to recover from the effects of alcoholism and get on with our lives here and now. Today, with hope, love, support, and encouragement of Al Anon members, I am able to face the reality of the past. Not to place blame or wallow in self-pity, but to learn from it. Today's reminder. There is much to learn from the past, but I cannot allow past hurts to smolder and destroy today. Instead, I can ask my higher power to help me use my experiences to move forward and to make healthier, more loving choices than ever before. There is a quote from Aldous Huxley, and it reads, "Experience is not what happens to you, it is what you do with what happens to you." Just for today, Daily Meditations for Recovering Addicts, August 3rd, Trusting People. Many of us would have had nowhere else to go if we could not have trusted NA groups and members. Basic text, page 84. Trusting people is a risk. Human beings are notoriously forgetful, unreliable, and imperfect. Most of us come from backgrounds where betrayal and insensitivity among friends were common occurrences. Even our most reliable friends weren't very reliable. By the time we arrive at the doors of NA, most of us have hundreds of experiences bearing out our conviction that people are untrustworthy. Yet our recovery demands that we trust people. We are faced with this dilemma. People are not always trustworthy, yet we must trust them. How do we do that, given the evidence of our past? First, we remind ourselves that the rules of active addiction don't apply in recovery. Most of our fellow members are doing their level best to live by the spiritual principles we learn in the program. Second, we remind ourselves that we aren't 100% reliable either. We will surely disappoint someone in our lives, no matter how hard we try not to. Third, and most importantly, we realize that we need to trust our fellow members of NA. Our lives are at stake, and the only way we can stay clean is to trust these well intentioned folks who, admittedly, aren't perfect. Just for today, I will trust my fellow members. Though certainly not perfect, they are my best hope. Today, Emotions Anonymous, August 3rd. Reflection for today. Grief can be devastating and debilitating. It can continue to creep into our lives years after the experience which caused it. It can and does appear at the most unexpected and unwanted times. Part of grief is anger and guilt, which seems unacceptable to most of us. Whether the pain comes from the loss of a spouse, significant other, pet, job, boss, child, limb, or house does not matter. The pain is just as strong and seemingly unendurable. Words do not help at these times. We need courage to just breathe and exist. If we can focus on living a moment at a time, strength will eventually come. We cannot let grief prevent us from loving again. It is a part of living which we all must go through. Meditation for today. Help me to remember that you and time are my best friends in my struggle with grief. Today I will remember. It is good to mourn, but there comes a time to get beyond the sorrow and resume a happier life. Strengthening my recovery. Meditations for adult children of alcoholics, dysfunctional families. August 3rd. Step 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. BRB, page 227. Making an amends list is part of wiping the slate clean for ourselves and walking into a new way of life. Many of us had been part of physically and emotionally unsafe relationships as adults, and we knew we eventually had to own our part in those relationships. As we made our amends list, we were told to put ourselves first. In doing so, we thought about all the things we had lost, most importantly, our childhoods, and what that meant for us. Even though we missed the stages of child development we were entitled to, we realized we could nurture ourselves and help make up for that loss. In making amends to ourselves, we acknowledge any self-harm we have done, including not forgiving ourselves for simply being human. Then we move on to amends to others, knowing we aren't being asked to make amends to unsafe people. Taking step 8 helps us grow spiritually and emotionally. Whatever amends we eventually make, it's a healing process. As part of this process, we continue to work on the character defects that have placed us in the position of making amends in the first place. We go forward in confidence and love to whatever comes next. The affirmation reads, "On this day I will stay current with the amends I owe myself, and then work with those I may owe others." Please share, subscribe, like, and most of all, be the you that you are created to be, one day at a time.